It's a beast. It's a big beast. I don't know how much of this you can see, probably very little on most of the cams, because this is a 65 inch. I don't normally do a 65 inch, but it's for a young couple, and I'm kind of feeling really sorry for them. When I say young couple, I think 18, 19, and they've obviously got a flat together. And this has been their dream 65 inch TV. It's a Vestel, it's a Toshiba. And it's, you know, a 65 inch 4K TV. Should we look at the model number? If I can lift it. They're not usually heavy, they're just awkward. No, I can't see it. Okay. You may be able to make that out. Let me turn the camera the other way around. And that's the model number of the TV. But I'm going to turn it upside down in a second and have a look anyway. But he got in contact with me, I think it was yesterday, and just said he's got a Toshiba 65 inch. Normally in that case I say no. But he sounded a bit desperate. And it kind of reminded me what it was like when I got my first place, and you haven't got much money and you try and buy nice things, and obviously they've bought this probably 18 months, 2 years ago, and something's gone on it. The only reason in the back of my mind I said yes is because I'm sure he said, and we'll have a look at a second, because the standby light is just here, as you can see. Why didn't I switch these other lights on earlier? Because I'm an idiot. Anyway, there we go. He said the standby light flashes and there's no picture. Well, I'm rather hoping for him, and I really am hoping for him, but I've got a funny feeling this is probably going to be another failed screen. You won't believe the amount of TVs that I'm getting that have got failed screens, and they're usually from Currys. I mean, in the back of my mind, I know it's almost impossible for Currys to buy TVs from a separate source from any other place. But my goodness, it must be just that Currys sell so many. The amount of faulty TVs I'm getting from Currys now on a daily basis, especially Samsung and these. But he said it's just the standby lights that's flashing and nothing's happened. Well, that did used to happen on Vestels years ago. The firmware would get corrupted. So I'm just hoping that, you know, I chuck a new main board in this and it's as good as new for him. When they turned up with the TV, they was just a young couple. And I felt so sorry for them. And I'm just thinking, oh, you know, you can't afford to go out and spend another 400 or 500 quid on another TV. And if you did, how long would that last? Anyway, before we get into those politics, let me just switch. What lights do we want on? What lights do we want off? If I just leave those on, you will probably get a chance to see. Hang on a minute, the main camera is not picking up the TV. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, it is now. Not that you can see anything, just a massive black screen. So I'm going to switch this on. We'll have a look and see what the standby light does. I'm really hoping that it's just a standby light that is flashing. That's what he indicated to me, or I think he said the standby light flashes 4 times. Maybe it's the backlights, but I'm not really in the mood for taking out a 65-inch screen. It's not the sort of thing I like doing by myself. 55 is my maximum. 65 by myself is a bit of a risk. Well, it is a risk. So I don't want... Anyway, let's switch it on. So, well, it's gone into standby. Shall I get a remote control out? I may have one here that will just fire this up. Maybe this one here will fire this straight up. I don't know. Yeah, it does. Oh! It's stuck in standby. Is it really stuck? Can you see what's happening to the standby light? Oh, that is so good. I'm so pleased. Do you know what? I'm almost getting emotional. I'm so pleased that there's a chance that we can get this TV up and running. Let me just see. I think I'm going to turn the TV the other way around now so we can have a look at the other bits. But at the moment it looks like it's stuck in standby and it's not coming on. That is just a main board issue, not very expensive. I can sort it for them. So have we got a little toggle switch on the side here, or have we got buttons? Oh, there'll be a button underneath there. Let me see what happens when I press that. This really only does just fit on. So, oh, it's this side. You can possibly see the red standby light. I am going to press the little switch here, which does the same. It does the same. I don't think this can be a screen. I don't think a shorted screen will stop a Vestel from coming on. We can have a look at the model number now. It's a 65UL2063DB. Surely we've got another 2 HDMIs down the side. We've got another 1 HDMI. You would have thought a big TV like this would have had 5 or 6 HDMI inputs. Come on. But we do have satellite input as well, which I'm always impressed with, because I've rediscovered FreeSat. I'm using FreeSat for my monitor up here while I'm watching the snooker. And I didn't realise that all the ITV channels are HD on FreeSat. Because they're not on Freeview, are they? They're only standard definition. Oh no, that's not true. I can't remember. But anyway, they weren't on FreeSat and now they are. Right, so I am going to take the back off, obviously, so bear with me a second. Comes off first time. Let's you know, a part of me was rather hoping to see a bloated cap on the backlight circuit, just in case that was stopping it from coming on. It's a rare thing, I know, but possible. So the main board has got the IPS 72, as you can see there. Looks a bit dusty, but apart from that it looks fine, but I will check a few things in a second. And that's what I think could be stopping the TV from coming on. But I'm going to disconnect the screen and do all the usual bits and bobs just to satisfy our curiosities. I'm hoping you can see whatever you need to see. I'll move the right hand camera along a bit. I think the left hand camera, well again, yeah, I can move it, but we're taking up most of the bench. Right, I will first of all just check for diodes, just in case, but normally if a diode goes short on these, the TV doesn't even bother coming on, but who knows. Electronics is never straightforward. Okay, I'm going to disconnect the backlights and I'm going to plug it back in. I need to get the mains cable out though, don't I? Which is something I didn't do. I didn't unscrew it out. Don't know why. I just didn't. Right, let's plug it back in. Don't know if you noticed when we first plugged it in, I'm going to do that again. Let me just switch off and switch it back on. And you may notice that the standby light does go green for a bit. Okay. Let me get the remote control. So this is with the backlights disconnected. Are the backlights causing a short? No. You can still see the red light there. Right, okay. I'll disconnect. And I know we're still in standby, but it's okay. The left-hand side of the panel, please don't come on now. And you don't. I'll disconnect the right hand side of the panel to make sure. Don't come on now. And you don't. Oh. Well, now you're staying in standby, you're not flickering. I'm just going to switch the TV on and off again just to reset it, just in case the processor needs to reset to come on. No, it's not. So it's neither of those. It has to be the main board. It really has to be something on here. Well, it's going to be firmware. And I absolutely refuse. I get so many people in the comments saying, well, why don't you reflash the firmware? Why don't you? I just refuse to do that because every time I've done that in the past, it lasts a couple of months and it comes back. It's a temporary fix. If the board's kicking out the firmware, the board is kicking out the firmware. I can't force it on. So I need to get the 2-3 number, which is down here. It's under that plug here. So I need to get the 2-3 number and find out. I've got a funny feeling, well, if there are no boards for this available, we'll know the board is a common fault. It's a common error. But I've got a funny feeling it should be rather cheap. But I'm just going to faff around for the next 5 minutes just to see if I can do anything. Okay, I just decided to just try a few extra things to see if I can force it to come on, and I can't. I don't think it's anything to do with this PSU at all. I know I've only done a small check, but we're getting the 5 volts. 5 volts is definitely there, otherwise the standby light would not be on, and the main board is not being told to turn on the power supply. And again, it looks like a firmware error. So let's just look at that number. That's the number we want there, 2-3. Don't know if you can see that. You possibly can't. But that's the number that I need. And I can't see it like, I think it's 23648059. That's what I think it is. But I'll just go looking on eBay and see what eBay says, because eBay talks to me, you know. And of course I talk back to eBay, so let's just have a look. Well, there are only 2 available, both a similar price, 40 quid and 45 quid. One's free postage, one isn't. So what do we read from the fact that there are only 2 available second-hand used from eBay? Is it because it's a reasonably new TV and most of them are still in service at the moment and working beautifully? Or is it because it's a common problem, so there are very few available? I don't think this is I don't think this is a common problem. I think this is a one-off, really. So it's worth purchasing the board. I will check my stock. I've got plenty of 55 inches, but I haven't got any 65 inches, and it does make a difference when it comes to Vestels. You can't go into the menu and change the screen, etc. So you might as well just buy the board. And again, for some particular reason, it's a young couple. I just want to do what's right for the young couple. I don't want them to be overcharged. It's a shame that the board is 40 quid and not 4 quid or 15 quid. But that's the way that it goes. So I'll look at ordering this board, and we'll do a part 2 and hopefully get this set up and running again shortly.